Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening with myself, Baz. It is Tuesday evening and there's breaking news tonight. It's news that Celtic fans will dread. It is news that Celtic fans will... There is breaking news tonight and it's concerning an injury-prone player. Cameron Carter-Vickers, the US international, has been back at Lennoxtown but is still to train with Brendan Rodgers' first team. There have been suggestions that he had an operation over the summer, which was only in the last 4 weeks, but it remains unconfirmed. CCV's been a key player over the seasons, it said. We do kick off the campaign in just over a month's time against St Mirren. Rodgers and Celtic have the Champions League qualifier. Celtic play Queen's Park on Friday, and then they travel to Cork and then the Algarve for friendlies. And we finish it off with games against Newcastle and Ajax. Austin Trusty, Liam Scales, Stephen Welsh and Dane Murray as your defenders. Are your defenders for the upcoming season 25-26? Bring it on down. Let's get ready to roll. For fucking Jesus Christ. I don't believe it, man. I don't believe it. And once again, at the start of the season, it looks like Cameron Carter-Vickers is going to be out for the most important game. Now, it's not confirmed as yet. It is a piece by the Daily Record, and it's Scott Burns that wrote the piece. Now, Scott Burns he has got his foot on the ball when it comes to things Celtic, but this will be one that will rock Celtic fans to the core. The fact that he's called him Aaron Trusty, it's Austin Trusty in the piece. We've got Liam Scales, Stephen Welsh, Dane Murray, Gustav Lagerbielke and Rocky as the defence. Gustav Lagerbielke doesn't want to be here. Rocky, you could say, well, he's up and down. Dane Murray's coming back from injury. Stephen Welsh, it's no wonder he's laughing at training just now. It is no wonder that he's laughing at training. If Cameron Carter-Vickers is out at the start of the season, it's Celtic really have to come to a decision, because it'll be us going into the Champions League again with a player that's the rock of the defence, and he's there's been more. We're not going to jump the gun. We're not jumping the gun at all. We'll wait and see what happens. We will wait and see what happens. But Celtic have just made another announcement just over an hour ago. Celtic Football Club are delighted to announce the latest group of youngsters to have signed their first professional contract, with 7 players signing deals. It's 25-26 season on the horizon. A number of players. 7 players have put pen to paper on their first professional contract at the club. The Celtic page then goes on to say, for any young player at Celtic, they only need to look at men's first team for inspiration. Callum McGregor, James Forrest, Kieran Tierney, Tony Ralston, Stephen Welsh, Ross Dohan, all came through the academy first team. Tierney went away, so did Ross. To stop trying to make it out something that's not. Everyone at Celtic wishes the players the best and see how their careers develop over the current years, which takes us on nicely to the next part. Daniel Cummins, a Celtic youngster that came through the system, that had been at Celtic since a young age, and a natural goal scorer. Signed his first professional contract in the summer of 2022, and he was going one way, and it was towards the Celtic first team. At 16, he netted his first goal for the Celtic B team in the Scottish B League, and he played there until last season, where he was then brought in due to injuries. He was brought in as a substitute for the bench of the Champions League. Fantastic, you may think. And you're thinking, When Cummins makes the bench for the Champions League game against Aston Villa, you're thinking this is it. He's going to sign the deal. Brendan Rodgers is going to work his magic and he's going to just force his way into the first team and we're going to have another star on our hands. It didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. And the player himself has had a sly dig. A sly dig at Celtic. And the reason that he left Celtic and went to West Ham, in his own words, there's a pathway to the first team. A pathway to the first team. It's something that you never want to hear a player really having a dig at Celtic, and he obviously felt that he didn't have a pathway to the first team. When you think about back to what Brendan Rodgers said afterwards, Brendan Rodgers did say that the fact that he felt that the younger players at the club were impatient. He said that players are not prepared to go through a football education and they think that they should be jumping straight into the first team. We've just signed a 19-year-old from Fulham's academy and put them straight into their first team. It's no wonder that, I mean, I do believe that Daniel Cummins' agent has a lot to do with it. But having a dig at Celtic, I mean, is it right? It's going to open up a lot of people are going to be watching Celtic and Brendan very close this season, because I think that the pendulum will start to swing. When Brendan Rodgers first came to Celtic, the pendulum had just got up and got near the halfway mark to the acceptance. Well, he's had a dig at Celtic and Rodgers. He's had a dig at both of them, saying that there wasn't a pathway. He didn't see a pathway into the first team at Celtic. So that's a dig at Celtic and Rodgers. I'm not splitting hairs between it, but that's what he said. He feels there's a pathway at West Ham for him to get to the first team. Maybe the boy Osmond is better than what we have. Well, if that's the case, bringing in a bunch of 16-year-olds is the next generation. You're now talking three years down the line before any of these players are ready to make first team. Brendan Rodgers, get back to the Brendan Rodgers situation. When Brendan Rodgers came back, the pendulum kind of just went, whoa, the happiness pendulum got to about here. And a lot of people weren't happy that Brendan Rodgers was back. And then the pendulum kind of went, I'll see you back here in May. And they went, all right, okay. And then when we get put out the game by Kilmarnock at the beginning of the season, the pendulum went, fucking told you, he's a fanny. And then as the season went on and we got through the Christmas period, the pendulum decided to start going. Jim F, wait till I'm going to show that video in a minute. I'm going to show the video in a minute, don't worry. The pendulum went the other way when Brendan Rodgers won a double in his first season. And then the pendulum was in full swing last season when we got some good results in European football. And you could start to see, but the rumblings were always there, the side-to-side passing stuff. It's Brendan Ball. It's the way that he plays football. Going into his third season, Brendan Rodgers, the expectation of fans will now be at an all-time high with Brendan, because I think that for all the times that Brendan says, I give youth a chance, I do this, I do that, there'll be a lot of players now, a lot of people saying, we've just brought in 7 youth players to make the B team feasible, and it's going to be another 3 years down the line before these guys are even ready to knock on the first door of the first team. Brendan Rodgers said that last season. He said it's going to be 2 or 3 years before there's anything coming through from the academy. Brendan, you've been here 2 years. That's 2 years that you've allowed the academy to go into disrepair, if they say. Anyway, the pathway at West Ham is all about money, baz. But anyway, we'll move on from that swiftly, because I want to get on to the whole Greg Taylor situation. Now, Greg Taylor had a little bit of a dig at Chris Boyd. Chris Boyd today. Yes, Chris Boyd said, are you back supporting the famous Little Blue Love Hearts now? And Greg Taylor said, not a chance. The world's most successful team for me. Chris Boyd replied, big I'll hire you then, fan now. More clubs than Tigger you, said Chris Boyd. No bitter Chris Boyd. But that wasn't the funniest part of the day. No, the funniest part of the day from Greg Taylor was when he did this. What was he thinking? What is he thinking? I'm going to play this video. I need to keep the volume down just in case we get copyrighted. But this video, oh thank God, it's Greg Taylor signing. Oh, he's ready to play. This is Greg Taylor. He's Scottish. He's ready to conquer. Freedom! Oh my God. I won't play this again for the start. It's Taylor's here. Hey, go yourself. Greg Taylor. Hashtag Taylor's here. Oh my goodness. I'll wait till it goes back to the beginning because I think this is the beginning. No, it's not. It'll start again in a second. You've got to watch this. Our way. Right, I need to restart it. Let's just do this again. And we'll get it from the beginning because this is something else. Should we get the music? Let me just see. Could we get a little bit of that music just to... What the heck? What was that? Oh, I just need to get a little bit again. Oh, God. Anyway, that's Greg Taylor. Signing. Yeah. He came from Scotland. He's ready to fight. He's ready to play. He's ready to conquer. Freedom. He's got the look though. He just needs a bit of longer hair and a bit raggedy hair, isn't he? Yeah, big Highlander. And anyway, Scott Brown went, good luck, wee man. It's absolutely bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers. Pay me $1 million, I don't care. I would do the same video. Is that what he's getting paid? He's getting paid more than $1 million. Wish Greg be well, but we wouldn't pay out 20 grand or K, whatever it was, to cover KT. He was wanting 25 grand a week, and I think that it wasn't far off at what Celtic were wanting to pay him. But anyway, does Greg Taylor think he's William Wallace? Says Stephen Johnson. I don't know, Stephen. I really don't know. It's but we'll give him his little moment of glory, because he has been a good player over the years for us. He's a good servant. So here's to the 100 years. Anyway, let's get off that because that's enough of Greg Taylor and the fat man Boyd. Right, other Celtic news. Obviously, the breaking news tonight is obviously the Cameron Carter-Vickers situation. It's not an ideal situation to be going into the season with. And if Brendan Rodgers and Celtic, if he has been for an operation, when will he be ready? Did he not have a knee operation a few seasons ago? I think he had a knee operation, didn't he? And yeah, he did, under Ange Postecoglou. Remember, he finished the season early and he went and got an operation on his knee. And another thing to think about is Alistair Johnston. I mean, I take it he's played okay when at the games that he's played. But, I mean, he had a little bit of a back issue towards the end of last season. So... It's not looking good. It's not looking good. The Greenock Telegraph. Oh, I've got to read this. Taylor's local paper. Celtic say bye to Greg. And then they play the video as well. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is funny, isn't it? Anyway, drops Nico Kuhn transfer. Things are starting to heat up, aren't they? I'm going to check the Celtic website actually, because let's see if Celtic have updated the teams. Oh yes, they have. They have. Celtic have got to work. Yes, they have. Right. There's an update to the squad. This is a worry, Celtic fans. Are Celtic about to do a deal with Jeffrey Sloop? Jeffrey Sloop is still on the Celtic site. All the other players have been updated. Greg Taylor is gone. Ross Dohan is in. Gustav Lagerbielke is back in the number 4 position in the first team squad. So the first team squad is now looking a bit chunkier in defence. The squad as it stands just now is Kasper Schmeichel, Sinisalo, Ross Dohan is number 31. The defenders, Alistair Johnson, Gustav Lagerbielke, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, Jeffrey Sloop. Jeffrey Sloop is still in there, even though his loan deal has run out at Celtic and he's a free agent. Is he about to sign a brand new contract with Celtic? Martin Orowski's in there, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Tony Ralston, Kieran Tierney. He's back in the team. He is back in the team with a new strip. And then also Stephen Welsh. So the defence is looking a bit beefier than it was a couple of days ago. It was looking threadbare. I've got to admit, it was looking threadbare. But the shock news is, are Celtic about to announce a deal for Jeffrey Sloop, because he is still in the squad, even though we're into July. So one morning in July, I was walking through the prairie. There you go, that's all you're getting. In the midfield is Kwon. Oh my God, Kwon is back. Kwon's back in the midfield. Luke McCown, Arnie Engels. It cost £1 million, £11 million. Paulo Bernardo, Rio Hatate, Callum McGregor, James Forrest. In the front lineup, the 2 new players are in the squad. The forward position is looking a lot healthier. The squad on paper looks a lot better. You've got Jota, you've got Louis Palma's back, you've got Benji's back in the team, you've got Adam Ida, you've got Nico Kuhn, you've got Yang, you've got Callum Osmond, number 19, in the team. You've got Marco Tilio. Marco Tilio is back in the first team squad. Hey, look as if can he do the unthinkable and make a name for himself at Celtic. And then you've got Dyson Maida and Johnny Kenny. There's only one player in the squad that is currently loaned out, and that's Odom Ohm. He is going to be loaned out until December this year. Now let's check out the B team and see who's disappeared, because there's going to be a lot of new players in the B team that are being promoted. No, there's not actually. The B team has 4 goalkeepers. Now, what they're going to do with those 4 goalkeepers, I have no idea, because there's no pathway for the 4 of those players to come into Celtic as it stands at the moment. Maybe a year down the line, you've got Josh Clark, you've got Joe Morrison, you've got Aidan Rice, and you've got young Toby, who was at Dunfermline last season. In the defenders, you have Mitchell Frame, Dane Murray. Dane Murray's still in the B team. He's not getting mentioned with the first team, so that will be worrying for the young player. But that may change. It may change. He's maybe just not been promoted to the first team as yet. You've got young Lenny. You've got Ben McPherson. You've got Mitchell Robertson. You've got Adam Montgomery, Colby Donovan, Andrew Kyle, and Liam. That's all in the defence. That's a lot of defenders, you've got to say. In the midfielders, you've got Corey Thompson, Kyle Urey, you've got Jude Bonner, Sean McCardle, Francis Turley, and Reece, young boy Reece in the first team. That's a lot of players, and you're thinking, there's a few of them that were be hoping to knock on the first team door this season. Will this be the season that they can do it? And then you've got Joey Dawson. He's left the club. Daniel Cummins. He's left the club. Fuck. Celtic haven't sorted out the B team as yet, because there's 2 players there that have left the club. But anyway, as the first team is concerned, as far as the first team is concerned, it's looking a bit better. It was looking threadbare a couple of days ago, but obviously with all the players that have been out on loan, it is interesting. Not seeing Schlupp in any of the Celtic TV footage. Find out an update on Yang, please. I hope Tillio's got a better haircut. All I'm doing is giving you an update on the team, the men's squad, because all these players were obviously on the loan out. They weren't involved in the first team. It'll be interesting to see if Marco Tillio is actually even in the country. I don't know if he's in the country as yet. He's bound to be, because he has to return to training the first day the same as anyone else, unless he is in the process of being sold. But you don't know. You would still. I mean, Gustav Lagerbielke's back training, so you would expect other players that are not going to be here. They're getting paid by Celtic, so they have to turn up to the first week of training. So it's going to be interesting. But the big news is tonight, you'll all be happy to know that on the first team page, Kieran Tierney's back in his rightful place with that number 63 shirt on. That'll make you smile more than anything. It will make you smile more than anything. Right, we're going to finish up the poll regarding young Daniel Cummins, who left Celtic and had a dig at Rodgers and Celtic FC, saying that he didn't see a pathway into the first team. He didn't see a clear pathway into the first team. And it's going to be an interesting one when you see all the younger players that have been out on loan to pint of diluting juice. Yep, you've got to keep you're going through about 2-3 litres of water a day here, easily. Got to keep yourself hydrated. 38 degrees, you need to keep yourself hydrated. But anyway, just seeing you all arguing amongst yourselves and end that poll. And the poll was Daniel Cummins right to have a dig at Rodgers and ultimately Celtic. 41% say yes. 58% said no, it wasn't right. Do you believe that Brendan Rodgers is right saying that he should have bided his time, he should have went out on loan? If he goes down to, well, he's now at West Ham, if he goes to West Ham and he's in and around the first team this season, the decision will be right then. Do you know, if he gets first team games this season and he sees that pathway into the first team, he's been right to do it. Anyway, how can you tell anything about Tillio when you haven't seen him play? I never said anything about Tillio. I thought Tillio would need to get his fitness up to par. Carried a bit too much beef. Carter, the statistics for Tillio, the stats on Tillio last season in Australia were better than the season before Celtic bought him. So statistically he's a better player now for the team in Australia than he was before he came to Celtic. You can only go on the stats. That's what managers go on. The managers go on the stats, and we can only go on what's the stats as well. And he seemed like a good finish to the season. We need to ship 7 players out. I'd like to see Rocky stay, says Mark Scott. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. It's going to be interesting this week with such a big squad. For me, it's going to be interesting to see how many of the younger players make the game on Friday. It'll be good to see how many of them make the team, because let's face it, you've got pretty much, I mean, as it stands now, you've got 4, 8, 10 players to fill four positions at the back. So 2 players on a regular basis aren't even going to make the bench. You know, you've got 10 players into 8. Even those 8 are not going to make the bench, because you're not going to get one from every position. I just find it strange that Jeffrey Sloop's still there when his contract was up and done. The midfield, you're looking at Luke McCown, Kwon, Arnie Engels, Paulo Bernardo, Rio Hatate, Callum McGregor, and for some unknown reason, James Forrest is still counted as a midfield player by Celtic rather than one of the front forwards, because then I would include Jota as a midfield player and Louis Palmer as a midfield player. They're not strikers. But anyway, they're as forwards. The forward position, I mean, you're talking about people complaining about not getting a game. Now, as it stands, you've got 10 players fighting over 3 positions. You've got 10 players fighting over 3 positions. Now, if Brendan Rodgers does go for 3 up front, out of that 3, he has Jota, who's going to be out injured. He's got Louis Palmer, he's got Benji, he's got Adam Ida, he's got Nico Kuhn, he's got Yang, he's got Callum Osmond, he's got Marco Tellio, he's got Johnny Kenny and Dyson Maeda. That's carrying far too much weight. And there's players there that will not get a seat at the table, as they say, on the breakfast table in the morning of a game, because they just won't even get on the bench. So Celtic are going to have to trim it somewhere. Is it Yang? Is it Kuhn? Is he sold? Louis Palmer, is he sold to then trim the beef off the fat, as they say? Johnny Kenny. Ultimately, what is Johnny Kenny sitting thinking tonight when he looks at this team squad and goes, how the am I going to get a game here? Come on, Gaffer. It's like you only play one striker up front, and you're now sitting with 4 strikers. You're sitting with myself, Johnny Kenny. You're sitting with Dyson Maeda, who's played a striker. You're playing with Callum Osmond as a striker. That's your 3, and then you're playing with Adam Ida. 4 into 1. It's not a sex show. Do you know what I mean? It's football. 4 into 1 doesn't go unless it's Pornhub. Fake taxi. Maybe that's what Brendan Rodgers is. He's a fake taxi driver, and he's just leading them up a garden path to hump them in the back and then kick them out. Oh, what a youthful idiot. Daniel Cummins, like everyone else, entitled to his opinion. We should maybe hear more from Celtic. I think Paradise Found, I think that Celtic said everything that they were going to say. I think that they said, Brendan Rodgers said, after Daniel Cummins made his the squad for Aston Villa, made the bench because he was the only eligible Scottish player. He said that younger players at Celtic are not interested in having a football education. They're not interested in doing what we say. Well, Johnny Kenny's done what you said, and can he really see a team into a pathway? Do you know? Anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. If the B team players are there by choice, the clubs won't win any trophies. The B team is a couple of years away from doing anything now. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, there's been over 700 people on the live tonight. I am only staying on for half an hour. Celtic are back in action in just days' time. We will get the first pre-season friendly this Friday. It's going to be an emotional day on Friday, as I said this morning, but when it comes to the evening time, whatever has happened during the day will be ultimately forgotten about, and it will be all about the fixtures. And as it stands, we have 3 days and 17 minutes and 4 seconds until Celtic kick off the pre-season of 25-26, and we get that underway at Queen's Park. And on that note, it's been an interesting night. Some good news, some not so good news. Surely McArdle will get some game time? I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder. You never know. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening. Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.